All right, there's a pretty good topic. I think we'll make that the discussion for today. All right, what's going on, everyone? Justin again, as always. Thanks for watching my channel. Welcome back. Today's video discussion topic is brought to you by Nick Hildabrittle, one of our longtime subscribers on the U of the Tubes. Nick's question was, hey man, what is your opinion as far as toolbox drawer layout? Heavy on the bottom, heavy on top. Would you please share your thoughts and opinions on this? So absolutely, I'd love to. Thank you. What a great topic for today. I've always been a huge fan of the majority of my sockets being in the top drawer. However, I will say I was not particularly a huge fan of this when I had the incident of 2013 occur at the Palm Springs Motors Ford. You see, I thought my career box when I was in the community college / Sears Auto Center was a Craftsman, because a lot of the old timers had these old school Craftsman, and I saved what money I could, and I was so happy because see, I went from this Touring toolbox in the Harbor Freight 5 drawer, and I moved myself into this Craftsman professional line toolbox with the ball bearings, black. It was nice, real nice. I have my racing stickers on it. Okay, long story short, the depth, meaning from the front of the toolbox to the back of the toolbox, I guess you would consider that the depth or what have you. Okay, the depth of it was just around 18 and a half inches. Now, a lot of you guys know, if you've had these older boxes, that was pretty much maximum depth at that point in time. For the Craftsman lineup, like that was just their be all end all depth. That's the way they ran them. Now the snap-on ones, they came in a little bit closer to 22 inches, 24 inches if you were lucky. It was real close, but they were the ones that offered the deepest drawers. So a lot of the current questions are not really applicable today that we had back then, because back then it was, well, why would you ever buy a Snap-on or a Cornwell or anything like that? Why wouldn't you just go get a Craftsman? Well, huge reason behind that was because they at the time were the only ones that offered the amount of depth in the drawers for their toolboxes. That is not so common today, okay? Today, a lot of these other companies, to include Harbor Freight, have expanded the overall depth of their toolboxes and have kept the price cost pretty low for us that are DIY at home or just starting off mechanics, right? But initially I liked having this set up like all the sockets in the top drawer until it came collapsing over and I smashed like 3 or 4 drawers. There went my career toolbox, and it took me nearly 2 decades to finally find a toolbox that I now consider my career toolbox, which is the Matco 4S. And we'll check the depth of that, you know, later on, and I'll just show you the difference in depth. So currently I now have my sockets again back at the top where I like to have them. Now, if they get to be super heavy sockets, I'm talking about 3/4 inch or even the axle nut socket set, for those big dogs, I like to put the heaviest stuff down the bottom drawers. I had a lot of pullers too for a while that all obviously made out of nuts, bolts, and heavy-duty fastener, like casted, blow-molded removal tools, right? All those things I kept at the bottom. And then after that, I would just kind of pick and choose like how I wanted things. Like, so for the second drawer, even though it's super thin, it accommodated my ratchet wrenches to fit within the blow-molded cases that they came in. And because all my pry tools are long, I liked having them in the longer drawer. So that's kind of how I chose that one versus a, let's say, shorter drawer. For other combination wrenches, adjustable wrenches, I chose a thin drawer off to the left, and I can handle organized chaos to a certain degree. I don't really have a lot of OCD about it. So that's why I kind of chose those. And then you just kind of pick and choose randomly, like, where do you think, you know, you feel most comfortable with, like your screwdrivers and stuff. I found another drawer just underneath that. I liked having them towards the top because I use them pretty frequently. And then I went down to my pliers, which I use pretty frequently. And then it went to not so frequent, you know, air hammers. See, now it's getting heavier and it's getting lower. And then it went to a bunch of drill bits and extractors, and that was even lower. The miscellaneous and light teeny tiny stuff I just put in the top left drawer, which is nice and deep, but you can put whatever you wanted to in there. I had a nice multimeter in there at one point in time. I most recently got rid of it, and I just kept the little Matco clamp style multimeter, which it's fine for myself. You know, I'm checking like voltage output for alternators and checking like battery voltage, and very rarely will they ask me to like ohm a circuit, because more times than not somebody else is ohming the circuit. And then, you know, I got my little tiny drawer that I use for the feeler gauges and so forth, as you guys saw. Anything that was over the top heavier, now we're getting down to a lot of the miscellaneous, again, nuts, bolts, things like that, I put in the lower drawer to include torque wrenches. So just kind of be selective as far as like where you want things, and just kind of go from there and play it by feel. I'll give you a couple more little pointers a little bit later on today, things that I would do with a service card, etc. And then we'll talk about it, and you guys share with me your thoughts and opinions. All right. We finally got the heater core hoses that we needed to fix this POS. Remember how it ran like crap? It was still leaking coolant, so we're gonna try again. But I guess this is one way of fixing it. If you can't find a plastic heater hose bypass, or you felt like it's cheaper to go to Home Depot into the plumbing section, it worked for as long as it was going to. I guess better than the plastic, huh? Ready for King of the Hammers?
Not quite.
Getting close though.
It's getting close.
A few little tweaks.
Gotta do something about the plug wires.
Oh yeah, MDS ones, huh?
Huh?
Gonna get some MDS ones?
I don't know.
High power?
No, I just want some that ain't gonna hit the headers.
Yeah. That's a good idea. So as you can see, most mechanics use the top part of their service carts for socket storage. Primarily because that's usually the first thing that you're going to grab is a socket, ratchet, extension. So to have them on the top of your cart, best way to go, right? And this is just from the inside, but it gives you a rough idea. See, 24 inches in depth. So for that, I choose to have a drawer layout with sockets like that. And this pretty much is all sockets, extensions, things like that, as I previously discussed. Anything that could possibly fit on a ratchet or a gun is usually in here, for the exception of some hex bits that I have in here from the Harbor of Freights. Wobble, see? Wheel stud. These are all spark plug sockets. Someone was asking about this. This is a grid system sold by Matco. I do believe there is one on Amazon. Couldn't tell you how much, couldn't tell you what drawer it fits, but obviously the one the Matco sells fits the Matco toolbox. And the Pro TIG Vulcan welder. Oh yeah, a shop favorite. Nice. So as I sit here back at the house, cheers to those of you that have your beers, by the way, I start thinking about like, when did that actually take place? How far back did it go when the average mechanic decided that he liked his sockets in the top drawer first? And then you start thinking about all these worries that like DIYs and even brand new technicians, lube techs, even your fresh to the fresh level 2 or 3, you know, techs are always reorganizing their boxes to fit a certain posture of like what they do on the day-to-day primarily, and they try to organize that top drawer for what they would most commonly use. Now that might not be a layout like what I have. You know, that layout may be way different. If they're a diagnostician, it very well could be a drawer where they have, you know, maybe a few 1/4 inch things, a few 3/8 things, but for the most part I bet it's probably like their back pin probes or their scan tool or their, you know, oscilloscope cables and lead off, and probably a laptop up top, right? My electrician college instructor, his sockets were in the second tier of his 26-inch Craftsman that had top and bottom. He didn't have them at the top. He had them down at the bottom half because it was at waist level, and most of the things he needed for electrical work he could grab all from right here. So that was how he had it laid out. Is that the way you should do yours? I don't know. What do you primarily do? You see, when I was at home and I had that Icon toolbox, I actually laid my top drawer out with all my air hammers and some of my cordless rigid stuff at the time. So I had my nailers, staplers, the big dog sawzalls and stuff like that on the top. And then I had a socket set tossed underneath the toolbox because mostly I played around with like fabrication and woodworking stuff when I was at the other house out there in JT. So yeah, how to lay out your drawer, however you want to, I guess, whatever's most comfortable for you. If is it a weight thing? It could be a weight thing depending on, like I said, the depth of your toolbox. So keep that in mind, because you wouldn't want to have all your sockets in the top drawer of, let's say, a 17.5 or 18-inch depth toolbox. I've lived that experience. It sucks when you have like 4 or 5 drawers all bend and fold backwards, slides and everything. And then you got to pick everything up that fell across the shop. And then you've got no security. So, yeah, take it from me. If you got a narrow box, keep the heavy stuff down at the bottom or in your service cart. You know, those $100 or $50 Rubbermaid carts from Harbor Freight, you can just grab one of those, keep your sockets in it. That'll be stronger than trying to put it all up at the top of your 18-inch depth, 40-inch double bay toolbox that you got. So just something that I've already lived and experienced. If you're able to use that and that helps you, great. As far as the service cart layout goes, though, I would venture to say probably every mechanic or technician is about the same way. It's going to have all their 1/4-inch and 3/8 stuff up there right away. And that first little skinny drawer, if you have it, you might have pliers. I mean, when I had my Rubbermaid cart, I drilled holes for my pry bars to fit, some screwdrivers, and some picks. That way it was already ready. And for the nozzle area, I just stuck the 1/2-inch gun. So it worked for me. Extensions, I kind of drilled holes through it and let them like hang throughout the side. It was a damn great cart. I mean, I may end up doing that again one day and get one of those from Harbor Freight, and then I'll drill it out and show you guys how I set it up. But it's also, you could, with those plastic, heavy-duty plastic roll carts, those things are sturdy, real sturdy. So you wouldn't have to get the metal one. I mean, if you wanted to lock something up, go for it. But if you lock it up in something that small with the one drawer, what are you really locking up? Maybe 150 pounds worth of tools, tops. So pretty sure even your weakest of weak guys can probably push, pull, drag, and throw that thing into the back of a pickup truck if they wanted to steal it. So I don't really think security is that much of an issue if you're willing to leave it in your lube cart, you know what I mean? So just think about what you're keeping in it. Think about the shop that you work for. Are they a trustworthy shop to where you don't have to have it locked? Because that's the kind of shop you want to be around. I understand the new guy phobia. I had that too for like the first couple of months of working at Ron's and at any dealership. I got to feel them out. I mean, even after doing this for 13, 14 years, I got to feel somebody out, man. I got to be like, all right, yeah, okay. This shop's cool. Now, I pretty much got everyone's telephone number anyways. They need something. I'm like, yeah, go ahead. They just, it's a nice little courtesy call. It's nice when they do that. Or, hey, you mind if I got this out of that drawer or whatever? I need to borrow it again. Yeah, sure, cool. But that depends on how cool you guys are with the people that you work with. Any rate, Nick Hildabrittle, great question, great topic. Hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned and we'll throw something at you again tomorrow. Have a wonderful night. Cheers and deuces.